Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today, Matty boy, we're going to be looking at a set of irons that we've not reviewed together yet.
No.
Been out for a few months, certainly a couple of months. The Cobra Radspeed. We're going to dive into it. There's a bit of a unique story to tell when it comes to these irons. They are definitely designed with a specific golfer in mind.
Definitely.
You know, when we were discussing the concept of the Radspeed irons, and we kind of said to each other, we should do this with no apologies for what this iron is.
And that's the thing. I think a lot of the time you see an iron of this shape and you look at the Lofts specs and go, kind of people roll their eyes and go, oh, here we go again. But there's a reason they make irons like this. There's a very specific kind of set of players that hit a bit of a slice. They are coming up short all the time. And it's just a battle for them to use a regular kind of style iron.
Exactly right. And I think there's always talk of the stronger lofts, etc. But we're talking, you know, the stronger loft would be a vertical conversation.
Right.
We're talking about a lateral conversation here because the clubs are longer, they are more upright, they are offset. You know, all those sorts of things are in there, and they're designed to get the ball to, you know, to be a little bit less on the fade or slice side. So. You know, most righties who miss out, all their irons kind of short right, leaking them out there, just don't kind of get the club squarely on the ball. Guys, this is for you. This is an iron set specifically built with you in mind.
If basically the club is already going to come in more square than before because of the offset, and then it's going to come in more upright, you're kind of, it sort of reminds me of when you were talking about wrist angles.
Yeah.
So if you get your wrist angle in a better spot and the club is a little bit more shut, you kind of make a better swing at it.
Definitely.
And I think that's, you know, people are watching this going, well, I'm not going to work on my wrist angles for 2 years, and I don't blame you. So this is kind of a way to manage your ball flight when you know kind of the type of delivery that you have.
Good point. I mean, the club will sort of add some contribution to the swing you make.
Yeah.
If you continue to miss badly on one side, you will start to try to compensate. That's just natural instincts in order to do that. So, you know, I think in true Cobra fashion, it's a techie looking club.
Definitely.
See everything in there. You've got the kind of 3D printed sort of lattice medallion that we saw from the putter when we reviewed that last year. I
think this is a much better looking club overall than F9 irons.
Yeah.
I think they've done a better job cosmetically with that.
You've kind of got the, certainly on the 7 I've got here and the 4, not so much in the wedge, but you've got this kind of carbon top line is back. So you know, you've not got that. So this is more of an adjustment of the vertical CG. So this carbon top line saves a couple of grams. It pulls it lower in the head. Obviously, when the lofts are as strong as they are, we're going to need everything we can to launch it higher. Pulling that CG down is what's going to do that. So you kind of have this high launch, low spin iron for the people who create high spin on their own.
And so a lot of the distance that will come back is launch conditions then.
Exactly.
Like obviously there's more ball speed from the stronger lofts.
Definitely.
If you move the CG down like that, they're gonna hit the ball plenty high, but they're gonna get the carry distance because they're not kind of ballooning it.
A lot of different factors all in at once. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying not relying on loft or CG. They're just basically piling on and sort of you know, compounding these technologies on top of one another with this iron. And it's basically saying like, okay, we challenge anyone else to produce a better iron for a slicer. And we say slicer, this could be the street person who wants to hit a draw.
Totally.
This could be, you know, whatever you know, player you tend to be. You know, maybe you're someone who's suffers from the curse of the neutral golfer, which is you miss it both ways.
Right.
Sometimes the neutral golfer does that. This can lead to maybe one side of a miss.
It's a more reliable ball flight. I think that's what most people that play on a regular basis, they just want to know where the ball is going to go.
Yeah.
In one way or the other.
Nice to only fight one half of the course. We've said that, you know, many times in these reviews. So
absolutely.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to hit a couple baseline wedges with yours.
Yes.
Just these are what kind of Matt standard clubs are, and then guys, for those of you who are thinking, well, what distance benefits are there? How do we look at launch and spin and speed and all these things, and what are we losing out on versus a traditional lofted iron?
Absolutely.
That was lovely. Comfortable. Comfortably 150.
Doesn't look like it's going to have any issue.
Yeah, 151.
Actually feels pretty nice. Sound is good, eh?
The sound is good, and how do you feel like you hit those three?
The second one was the best.
Okay.
That one was actually a little bit in the heel,
Okay.
and the first one was maybe a little bit in the toe. But the result is awfully similar, which is, I'm assuming, what you're looking for.
Yeah, those three little peas in a pod there. We always talk about the height pickup. You know, stronger lofted irons do not go lower.
No.
Complete misconception. If we retain the same launch angle, even with a loss of spin, but the speed goes higher, the speed is the dominant factor in the height.
It's so interesting that the launch angle can stay the same like that.
I know.
Because I think we talk a lot about center of gravity distances or
Yes.
differences, and you're always saying, you know, we're hoping to see a little bit here or there, but 3.5 degrees of loft and you're, you know, within half a degree of launch is pretty cool. You can tell the technology is actually doing something in that case.
Exactly. Loft is not something to fall deeply in love with. That is the be all and end all.
Right.
All of these other factors are playing their part in contributing towards that. So as the launch angle stays the same, you know, the 5 mile an hour pickup and ball speed is making that ball, you know, climb way higher than your own pitch and wedge, Matty.
Which a lot of people, I think, in this category, they want the ball to fly higher. It's lower spin, so it's not going to get caught up in the wind, and you're gaining that club of distance that I think a lot of people feel like they've lost a club of distance.
Definitely.
And it's back. And it, to be honest with you, it was quite easy to control. It's not like the club was out of control or something.
Far from it.
No.
A flusher.
It's good.
Got a little chance right over the top of it.
Bit deep. It's good. Good too. That's a very different experience than hitting a 7-iron. That's pretty cool though.
Chance.
Radspeed? Oh. It feels pretty nice. You start to hear a little bit of that techie sound, but I don't know, as these irons tend to go, it's one of the better ones I've tried.
I think as the loft comes down, the noise will be exposed a little bit.
Certainly not offensive though, like it's still quite, you know, on the traditional side considering how big of an iron that is and how much is going on in there.
So start to see some changes, obviously. A 1500 RPM difference, a drop in over a degree of launch now. But again, the ball speed staying higher keeps the peak height right around the same.
That's pretty cool.
You've picked up 20 yards. The peak height was within 1 foot one another, but what I probably want to touch upon is the shallower land angle by 2 degrees and obviously the loss of the 1500. It meant that it doubled your stopping time.
So something to consider, obviously.
Something to consider, and that's with your speed.
Yeah,
Take somebody down who doesn't have, obviously, the speed that you have to input in that, and that will be a factor for sure.
And then I guess at that point, the golf ball choice may factor in. This is a current model Pro V1, which we know in the mid irons is actually quite lower spin.
Yeah.
You know, if I was fitting myself for these irons or you were fitting me, you'd probably go Pro V1X.
Definitely.
And maybe that would help you with the stopping.
Really good point. You would need to think about golf ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, hit that well. Oop.
Roasted.
Ooh.
250.
Sounds like a driving iron. Flies like a driving iron.
248 on the fly.
It's crazy, like, how far that's going. It's nice.
Ease of use, high?
Very high, and it's not like I was hitting all hooks either. Like,
No.
it's fairly neutral in terms of the actual usage of it. I'm sure I'm adjusting for that a bit, like trying to hold the face, but it's not like I hooked every single ball.
Yeah, actually, we're turning these over less. I mean, we've kind of built these up as like, the slice destroyers.
I know.
But it wasn't really giving you any of that sort of tendency. Okay, the dynamic lie angle is a little bit toe up and all those sorts of things, but it wasn't giving you that.
No, and I think I probably made a little bit more confident swings with it versus mine because I wasn't worried about striking it perfect. Like mine with the forehand, you need to hit it pretty well.
Yeah.
They're decently forgiving in the short irons, but I find my forearm with that T100, you better hit it quite well. Whereas this one, I think you have obviously a little bit of space to work with. It's
quite interesting when you see these progression, when you see them like this, and you see how much distance is to be gained.
It's huge.
It is, it's a lot. I mean, it's progressing from 10 to 20 to 22 in carry distance.
Which makes sense, as you said, people are getting compressed in the longer irons, so you want to see the gap. Like for me, the gap makes sense to it stretching
increase.
Out further.
Yep. And the launch and kind of spin, again, that 4-iron, you're actually able to hit the Radspeed 4-iron higher than yours.
That's pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
It is.
Pretty cool. So, I mean, this is just ultimately shaken out as a test that is designed for people who are really struggling for distance when it comes to the irons.
Absolutely.
And what is offered and, why you shouldn't be completely shying away from it.
I don't think you should either. I mean, if you're tending to come up short a lot, whether you strike it well and you kind of spin it up too much and you're short, or if you're not striking the best part of the face on like a traditional iron, I think you said it best, the ease of use factor is big time there. Like if I wanted to rent these on vacation or something and have a few drinks on the course and just not worry about how good you're striking it, it's way easier to play golf that way.
It definitely seemed that way.
And I'm sure the distance control over time, maybe it's not perfect, but I think, as you said, don't kind of put the irons down unless you're looking at those irons, and they'll probably make sense to you. And if they don't, then that's why you're looking at the strong lofts and going, oh, it's not for me, then it's not for you.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
If precision is what you're looking for, you're not going to be looking in this direction anyway.
No.
But if it comes to always coming up short, your greens and regulations. So, I mean, one of the things, Cobra was the first company to partner with Arccos.
Right.
Take advantage of the Arccos sensors being inside the grips when you get them. Activate the Arccos software, and start to learn about your game. Start to learn, okay, do you come up short, and are you not hitting enough greens and regulation? While you're hitting it in the right direction, you're just not making solid contact and things like that. You miss hit a couple there, and looking at the size of those dispersion circles,
it barely mattered.
They were tiny.
I know.
Look at that one with the 4-iron; it's ridiculous.
It is.
Guys, stay tuned for more. Again, Arccos is something we're going to dive into over the summertime once we get outdoors, introduce you guys to trying to use analytics to your benefit, not just turn up on once a week or twice a week and just see how it goes.
Yeah.
That's not what's going to drive scores down.
No.
That's one thing we all have in common as golfers. We all have different goals, but we all want to get better, don't we?
Definitely. I totally agree.
Okay, stay tuned for that. We'll see you again soon.